So if the class is graded in the curve, this curve, okay? So this kind of rule, what percentage get A's, B's, C's, etc. Okay, so if a person is, so X is normally distributed with mean mu sigma squared, this is the grade of person to determine their grade. So what's the probability of X being greater than, so probability of getting an A, and A, which is nothing but the percentage of people who get A's, is the probability that X is, you get an A if your grade is greater than mu plus sigma. Right, so this is probability, so no matter like what mu is and what sigma is, as long as it's greater than mu plus sigma, you get an A. So let's do this, and I get, if I subtract a mu and then divide by sigma, I get that what's the probability that this is greater than 1, probability that the standard normal is greater than 1, and that's 1 minus probability that Z less than or equal to 1. So what is probability that Z is less than or equal to 1? 0.8413. About 0.15, right? So 15% of the class gets A's if we follow this way of grading on the curve. So some people they define the curve as the top 15% get A's, and if this is normally distributed, it's basically saying if you're within, if you're 1 standard deviation above the mean, you get an A, and that's 15% of the class. Okay, probability of getting B. So what fraction of the class gets a B? That's just the probability of being between that and mu plus sigma. And this again, let's subtract out mu, divide by sigma, I get 0 less than Z less than 1. So this is just the probability that Z is less than or equal to 1 minus probability that Z is less than or equal to 1 is 0.8413 minus, what's the probability Z less than 1/2? 1/2. So that is 0.34. So about like 34% of the class is assigned B's. You can go ahead, calculate probability of getting a C, probability of getting a D. So typically like 15% to get, 15% of the class get A's. I think this is done somewhere in the textbook. Example 20, let's see. So if you want to do all the calculations, you can just take a look at this. Okay, turn to page 202 or 203. So if you follow this curve, 15, so on page 203, they list the different probabilities of getting these different grades. And so you see 15% of the class gets an A, 34% of the class should get a B, 34% of the class gets C, about 14% get D, and 2% fail. So that's typically how you choose it. And this is also how this class will be graded. 13% will get A's, 34 get B's, 34% C's, and then.
Yeah, this seems ironic.
What? that you have to calculate your grade.
I don't like this.
Sorry, why is it greater than or equal to 1? Why is C
Greater
greater
than or equal
The
to
probability of
1.
C is greater than 1. I'm sorry.
This?
Yes, why
Okay.
1? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So subtract mu from both sides. X
Uh-huh.
minus mu is then greater than sigma.
Okay.
Divide by sigma. X minus mu is greater than 1.
Okay.
So I just
Okay.
I just did the same thing of subtracting mu and dividing by sigma on both sides.
Okay.
When I do it on this side, I end up with 1.
Okay.
So here when I subtract off mu, I get 0 here, I get sigma here. When I divide by sigma, I get 0 here and 1.
1 here. Okay.
Were you serious about the fact that that's how this has to be graded?
I've always graded like this.
Really?
Yes.
What if we all did really, really well?
34% get it. Well, yeah, of course I do tweak the grade a little bit, but
Oh, good.
the curve a little bit. But like 34% get B's, 34% get C. So the bulk of the class is in the B and C range, which is what like a fair curve should always be. And then a few that way, and then 15%. I mean, it should be some work to get an A, right? but you're right. If it looks like, so that means if the class is not normally distributed, it's skewed towards this way, then it doesn't seem fair to still assign only 15% to A's. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So so this is assuming it's normally distributed. Then I will. That's the percentage for each grade. I think that for the last exam, your curve looked more like that. So I would assign more. I mean, I wouldn't say, oh, then the criteria for an A is somewhere out here. I'd still assign. I'll just assign a larger percentage A's. All right. Okay.